It can be tough to know exactly what kind of class you actually want to play or what playstyle you want when you start off a D&D campaign. And given that they go on for upwards of several years, depending on the DM and the group, that's rough to be stuck with if you're not enjoying it. The simple answer is, well, just to let them respec, as you can in most RPGs. So let's talk about how you can find ways to do that. Hello, my name is Jason, and I like to change my mind a lot. And I'm going to talk you through how you can add respeccing into your game in three different ways, basically, that might feel better or worse depending on your kind of playstyle. As a general rule of thumb, my opinion on this is that you should just let them do it. It doesn't really harm immersion. You can make ways of making it work within the story. Maybe your wizard finds a mentor and discovers that actually the things that they thought they were learning from these books, they were actually learning from innate sorcery or from songs, or they didn't like magic at all and they put that intelligence towards becoming a rogue or something. I appreciate that this might lead to some pretty big shifts on what the character can and cannot do, and while that is hard to kind of grapple with, it's not impossible. The simplest way to do this in-game is, magic, the thing that is just everywhere in D&D. You can write off everything as just being magic. That's a thing you can do as a DM, 100%. Never an issue. If you did want to find a more specific way of doing it, maybe they find a mentor that's gone through something specific as well. Maybe they pray to a god who answers their prayers, and the process is, dramatic or traumatic or something else attic. Or maybe they just find a cool gem that they hold and eat or fuse to themselves or something, and it channels all of that wizardly might into being really, really good with a sword. Fighters are so good in 2024 rules. 100% play one if you haven't already. They're so much fun. What if you don't want to do that though, and you want to find a more mechanical way to do it but still actually allow your players to do it? Well, that's fine too. I think the most logical way of doing this and the most interesting way of doing this is to have it linked to rests in some way. So my proposal for you, dear DMs and players who are trying to convince their DMs but know that they need a little more juice, is to allow your players to easily and readily swap out levels, but it comes with a cost. Maybe the cost is monetary, and that's a fun way of doing things. If your players need something to spend their money on, then they're willing to do so. Maybe the cost is they have to sacrifice a magic item that they've got. That's also pretty cool. But I think that one way of doing it and limiting it, if that's something you're after, is to make them gain a level of exhaustion while doing so. Again, this can be facilitated by magic or whatever you want. Again, you are the DM. I believe in you. But the idea here is to stop players shifting their entire class over and all of their stats over at once, if that's something you'd rather they didn't do, and it gives kind of an interesting cost. So they gain a level of exhaustion for doing it. Maybe they want to respec 3 levels at a time. 3 is the magic number in D&D, what with that being when we get subclasses, so that makes sense. But it comes with a heavy cost, and then they have to wait for 3 long rests to be able to overcome that and then potentially do it again. Or maybe they keep themselves at 3 exhaustion until they've completely changed class, and then they go from there. I actually quite like this method. I like this idea a lot. Even though I'm generally in favor of just magicking stuff and changing it, I do think it's a really cool way of adding it as a mechanic rather than just as a general wish fulfillment thing. But it's up to you. This is such a stupid bit to be changing clothes, but I'm committed to this little bit at the very least. The third and final way I'm going to recommend in this video is to have it be relevant in a fight in some way. You could link this to level ups. You could have a player give up a level of their current class, and maybe they level up after the next fight, whatever that fight may be. Now, this isn't going to work if your player's going around picking fights with commoners, because they're probably going to win those. But it could be good for story-linked campaigns, if that's something you want to do. And again, you could have them trying out some of those skills to help level them up in that class. For me, this is the least interesting of the bunch, because you're kind of punishing your player for wanting to change or not liking the thing that they started as. And again, I'm generally not in favor of that, but also it adds some fun wrinkles to the process, and that's always good. But yeah, that's that. I think you should let your players respec. I would let my players respec if they wanted to. Subclass to subclass, class to class, whatever else. You can always find story reasons for it, even if you're using the more mechanical approaches to things. But ultimately, even though this is an immersive game, it is still a game, and the point is to have fun, both as a player and as the DM. So, just let them do it. If you enjoyed this and you want to see more, like and subscribe, and I will see you next time.